Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunday School. Today we are starting a little small series on the Psalms. And the Psalms were written thousands of years ago in times where David suffered. David isn't the only psalm writer, but he wrote most of them, and he was very musically inclined. He was a singer-songwriter, if you will, of the time. He wrote songs and he played music, and he did that for different people. And if you read First and Second Samuel, you'll see how his life plays out. And so, whenever David was told that he would be king, he was like your age. He was a teenager, and he had to work up to it. He didn't know what life would be between when he was told he was going to be king and when he actually became king. So again, you should read First and Second Samuel because it really lays that out for everybody, and it's a wild ride. I'll tell you that. So let's look at this psalm today. It's a psalm of waiting, and it's Psalm 13. So let me read it for us, and then we'll get started. How long, O Lord, will you forget? Will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I bear pain in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all day long? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Consider and answer me, O Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep the sleep of death, and my enemy will say, I have prevailed. My foes will rejoice because I am shaken. But I trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me. So you see in verses 1 and 2 that there are some questions there. God, I'm hurting. God, have you forgotten me? How long will you be away from me? How long will someone that I don't like, how long will things go well for them and not for me? When am I going to have an upswing on the hill instead of a valley? When am I going to have a hill? When am I going to have a good moment? God, when are you going to be present? And the fact of the matter is, if you've not asked these questions before, you will in your life. That there are going to be times where you feel like God isn't there, that you're constantly trying to cry out to God and you don't feel anything. There's a realization that we need to have, and that's where David gets that God's love and presence is steadfast. Steadfast means that it's steady. It doesn't move. It doesn't go anywhere. It's always there. And that we are people of God, that we are children of God, and that we should be reaching out to God, crying out to God, showing that emotion. Psalms are full of emotion, all of them. They all express different emotions and different things that the people are going through then, but then it also gives us a platform to stand upon whenever we go through something. So if there's a time where you've been waiting, a time that you feel like God hasn't answered you, then read this psalm. It asks some questions that I'm sure you've asked before. And it leads you through the verses into God's love never failing. That God is always there to be worshiped in thanks. Because it's always easier to pray when things are going badly. Say, God, I've got all these problems, without saying, God, thank you for all the things that you've given me. And I know when we had our series on prayer, we talked about the different ways to pray. We talked about that nothing is off limits. Absolutely nothing. That everything, good, bad, and ugly, should be given to God. To be given to God, and let us release those things to God so that we can start to deal with them ourselves. Because sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. And so David here is asking some questions of God. The verses 3 and 4, he's very concerned with his enemies. He doesn't want to die without him fully knowing that God is there. The truth of the matter is that David has an extremely close relationship with God based on the stories that of his life through 1st and 2nd Samuel. You see how devoted he is to God. And so I would invite you all, one, to read some of 1st and 2nd Samuel to get a taste of who David is and what he went through in his life. But then also to make the Psalms relatable. So the different ones that we're going to read within the next few weeks are all going to be relatable to things that you have gone through. Now, I'm not going to know your time of waiting. I'm not going to know the thing that you were wanting God to answer. I'm not going to know the thing that the situation in your life where you are crying out to God, asking for more and asking for answers. I'm not going to know that, but you do. And I would love for you all to read this psalm and for it to give you encouragement and support in everything that you go through. Because we all go through stuff. And we all have to trust God through those times. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that we're not going to ask the questions in verses 1 and 2. Because we will. There are times in our lives that we will. And how we choose to move on from that time shows our faith. Our faith in God, our faith in the one who is always there, who is always faithful. So please read this psalm this week and feel it out. See how you can relate it to your life. But then also keep it in your back pocket for times in times where life doesn't seem to be going the way that you want it to. And so we are all going to meet together on Zoom on Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and I'll send out the link to that just so we can all get together. And I will have some more details about coming back together soon whenever we meet on Wednesday. And I know you all are looking forward to that, and I am too. And I want to make sure that we do it in the best and safest way possible. And so I am going to be working diligently on that to be able to provide you all with an in-person experience as soon as I can. So I will see you all soon, and I hope that you all have a great week and a great day.